much of our lives inside. Either in traffic at work or close eyes. How about we all agree that it's way overdue to take back our lives? I can work wherever now. You can work wherever now. Take your guard and let it down, 'cause you can work wherever now. Take your guard and let it down, 'cause you can work wherever now.
Hey everybody, welcome on into the Work Wherever podcast. I'm your host, Roy Edwards, and this is the podcast where we talk about tech trends, remote work, AI, automation, and the ability to work wherever so you can live every day like it is Saturday. And I got Sydney here.
Hi, guys.
That's how you know it's going to be a good episode. So there's this new release of technology that has come out in the last couple months. It's called ChatGPT, which is an accessible AI that's open to the public. And that's the topic of discussion today, where there's a lot of positive, negative, all kinds of different reactions to people. Now, when I sent you this, you hadn't heard of...
I had seen a little bit about it, but like I had no clue like what
you hadn't
it was.
actually physically played with it or
right,
like,
exactly.
like typed through
or
it.
That,
or
like anybody could just do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the biggest deal out of this. So ChatGPT is it's an AI chatbot, essentially, is what it is. And so it is ChatGPT, which stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which is the GPT in chat. And so ChatGPT, there was actually a former AI. It was called Instruct GPT, which was a comparison processor, which was the pretext to ChatGPT. And this ChatGPT, like I said, it's a chatbot that takes variables and then spits out responses. So within AI, there's a trigger and there's a response. And based on your trigger, so if I say, "Hi, Sydney," you know to say something back to me, and your response is based on my trigger. That's the same way the human brain works, right? So if I were to say something offensive to you, you would know to respond accordingly. So if I were to say something like, "Do you like hockey?" you wouldn't respond with, "I prefer baking," or like "I like to bake," right? Because
right.
it doesn't match the trigger. And so how AI works is it reads over triggers, understands triggers, and then based on triggers, it knows how to respond. So that's kind of the baseline here of ChatGPT. And we're going to get into, we're going to nerd out on this a little bit, Sydney, so I hope you're ready for this.
That's okay. I'm excited.
So first off, before we dive into this, Christmas just happened.
Yeah.
And so we have to talk a little bit about Christmas before we dive into some potential worldly ending type of AI conversation.
Well, for them, it might be like the first episode of the new year.
I guess it would be. Is that what we're at? Are we at the? Because we do have a lot.
It would be on Monday, yeah. The
first episode of the new year. Because we just released.
I just did the wrap up, yeah.
The wrap up. So this would be the first episode of the new year. Wow. So Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks for everybody listening.
Yeah.
You too.
So if it is the new year and it's the first Monday of the new year, that means that, and that noise you just heard is every episode Sydney drops her phone.
Always something happens.
That's what that is.
It's okay.
So now you know how we're off to a good start. If it's the new year, then we've started 75 Hard. Are you doing 75 Hard with us? Are you on day 1 of 75 Hard right now?
No.
Let's look into the future a little bit.
I had a 10-piece chicken nugget on the way here.
Well, that's okay, because it's not actually January 1st yet. But we are starting 75 Hard. For those of you who don't know what 75 Hard is, just give it a little Google. It all has to do with like self-discipline and instilling self-discipline through a few different things. So if you want to do it with us, I would encourage you to do it with us. Sydney's going to be doing it. She doesn't know it yet, but she's doing it with us. I'm doing it. There's like 3 people within our company who are doing it. My brother's, well, he's on the fence.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in his boat.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it, and we'll talk about it.
I'll do my best.
We'll document.
I've got a lot on my plate, Roy.
I know, but what's one more thing?
Right, exactly.
What's one more thing? So, artificial intelligence. Let's dive into it because, well, actually, before we go from talking about New Year's into AI, do you have a New Year's resolution? Do you do that?
No.
Not at all.
I want a house.
You know what? That's a good one.
Yeah.
Which
we're in the process.
I was about to say, when this podcast comes out, you might have a house.
Maybe.
That would be pretty awesome.
We'll see.
Is this like when you think of your dream house? Is this the one that does this come to mind? Like this check all the boxes?
Yeah. If you would ever to ask me like what I wanted, I would say a yellow house, some sort of like farmhouse, like an old house, which it is an old yellow farmhouse. So I'm so excited. It's not by the beach, but one day we'll get there. Well, it is by a cornfield though, so that's
cool. Yeah, that means that nobody's going to be building behind you, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to have any neighbors.
Exactly.
That's
We're
great.
Excited.
That's awesome. That's
so fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'll say a little prayer for you.
That's a big thing for people my age.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
How old are you?
28.
28. I bought my first house at 28. So you're right on par. How about that?
Good.
No, but you're super young.
Yeah.
I would not have been able to buy my first house at 28 had I not had a little bit of help. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll get the VA loan.
That's a good one.
So that is how we are buying that, which we're super lucky because obviously most people don't have that.
Yeah.
So
well, and your fiance served, so
right. We're able to do 0 money down.
That's pretty awesome.
Which is the only reason that we are getting a house potentially, but
yeah, well,
big things. Get married. I mean, that
you're
is
getting
happening.
married this year.
Yeah.
God willing, nobody runs away.
By you
or Evan or
I think.
I am marrying you
legally.
Not marrying you. I am
officiating.
What is that called? Officiating the wedding. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, you got a big year.
I know.
This is a huge year for you.
Mhm.
Wedding, house.
I just want to get through the year and not lose my mind, I think.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna happen.
I just want to,
It's
big responsibilities.
August is your wedding, right?
Yeah.
So you have all year to just think of plan and just go crazy about it.
I have half a year.
Half a year. 8 months is a little more than half a year.
Well, it's beginning of August, so really 7.
And then you'll get married and basically go off. Are you doing the honeymoon the same time of the wedding? How's that working out?
No, I don't think so. We'll probably wait until a little bit longer. Because I think where we're going, we get a free couple days, the next year. Plus we're going out of the country, so.
Okay.
It's kind of like a.
So Christmas and New Year's and everything that we're talking about, what we just did, we just went through, is going to look drastically different for you next year.
Yeah, maybe.
No, maybe. I mean, you won't be in the same house, God willing.
Yeah, I hope not.
You'll be married. You'll have a different last name. Are you changing your last name?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think so.
Big move. It's a lot of paperwork.
I know.
It's a big move. New last name, new house, husband.
Well, I had heard from somebody to just make your last name current, your middle name.
Yeah, that's a pretty popular trend these days. Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I have a brother. He can carry it on.
Do you have any strong feelings towards your middle name? Is it just a generic white girl name?
Josephine.
Josephine?
Yeah.
Does that mean anything?
It's kind of like an old lady name. It's my grandma's middle name.
Okay, so you do have a bit of a tie to your middle name.
I never loved it, to be honest with you.
Well,
I don't hate it, but I never loved it. Yeah, no, I'll keep it.
You could always go 2 middle names.
I could.
And
I think
move your
I'll
last name to
it.
your middle name.
I think I'll just get rid of it. It's generic, so.
My wife just dropped her last name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she has a brother, you have a brother,
exactly.
Carried on the name, and good there,
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting things happening for Sydney in 2023, which maybe this ChatGPT will help you alleviate some of that stress, which we're about to talk about, to help you with some of because you do a lot of the marketing.
Yeah, and I just looked something up before we started this. I'll read it to you, which is pretty cool.
Well, I want to hear that.
Okay, So essentially, do you ever remember like when you this like reminds me of when you would go on like AIM like back in the day, and they had like those little robot things like in chat rooms that you could talk to. Did you ever do that?
Yes, I did.
That's kind of what it is,
it's
right?
It's essentially the same thing.
Not as smart.
Right.
But
so
that's what it reminds me of.
That's a great point. This ChatGPT is not new technology.
Right.
The technology, the responses, the triggers, the artificial intelligence, you say something, it says something back, is not new. I mean, Ask Jeeves, you could say, even did this back in the 90s. Not to this extent, granted. And this is aimed at more towards the creative. I think that some of the AI that we've seen, because we also saw the drawing.
Yeah, I tried to get Roy to do that, but he would not do it with me. You pay like $8 and get like a bunch of images of yourself.
It was not about the money for me. It was about the freakiness of it.
Yeah, they're cool. I liked it.
It is pretty cool. Now they're all over my socials.
I'm just going to do it for you.
So this was a prototype, this ChatGPT. It was a prototype that was launched in November of this year. So we're a month into this.
Right.
At this point, people are losing their minds right now. And so the big thing about this and why it has become such a big deal is how accessible it is to anyone. Anyone can go to this bot and ask it questions, and it's accessible through OpenAPI. And for those of you who are OpenAI, rather, sorry, but it does have open APIs with it. And so for those of you who don't know what an open API is, an open API is an open tunnel of information that can connect to things. So an API, if we controlled our own database, Sid, of just, I don't know, things that we did in a day, and we just added them into a database, an Excel sheet that was public to the internet, and we could plug it into this chatbot. Then we could ask this ChatGPT, hey, what did Sydney do on the morning of X date? And it could pull it up quickly. Now imagine that with the entire internet.
Yeah.
So it's not just what did Sydney and I do. It's everything that ever happened on the internet. In
such a short amount of time. It can...
Rapid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the scariest part about this, is that you and I have to process things, and we're limited by our own brain. This is not limited by really anything.
Right.
Because as technology evolves, the ability for it to read, and I say that in quotation marks, and comprehend will only get faster. And it blows human intelligence out of the water.
Right.
In terms of how much it can do, how much it can read, and how much it can comprehend, and it's only getting better. And mind you, it doesn't make mistakes as frequently as we do.
Right.
So, artificial intelligence really started to hit market 2011-ish, where it had a 25% higher error rate than humans. So it was getting things wrong. So when you're talking about AIM and everything like that, yeah. But we could talk to it and it would get things wrong, and you would be like, eh.
Right.
Or
produce like the same response.
Right. Sorry, programmed. I don't know that. You're like, all right, whatever. Then 2012, a little over 15%. 2013, a little over 10%. So it's getting smarter, erroring less. 2014, a little over 5%, which 5% error is the human error.
Right.
Now, 2015, it became better than humans in terms of error. So just under 5% error.
Wild.
That was, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The error rate now it's not zero, because even this new ChatGPT that has come out has error. And so what they're calling it is hallucination, where I would say, Sydney, what's your favorite pie? And you would be like, baseball. And you're like, well, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just, it is wrong, but it's wrong in a different sense of like, hey, what's 2 + 2? And instead of you saying 5, it's saying Saturn.
Right.
It's totally off base hallucination. And that's could be, you know, it could be a lot of different things, where we talked about those trigger words, and so it's looking for very specific things. So if I say, like, I played a sport, and after I played my sport, I always like to eat, you know, oranges. What did you like to eat after you played sports?
Right.
And it could be reading that sentence and focusing on sports as the trigger word, and it's saying, oh, well, sports, I like baseball, and responding baseball as a... That could be a reason for the hallucination, or it could just be querying incorrectly. And so the error rate on these things is much better than human, and that's something that we have to correspond to. But the existence of these hallucinations, they do exist in here. And so Sydney and I have been running through scenarios through this ChatGPT.
I think we started with very different scenarios.
We have definitely sent through different... So what have you sent through?
So my first thing I said was, write me a Hallmark Christmas movie. And it started coming up just writing a whole script titled A Christmas Miracle in Maple Falls, and gave me like a whole plot of a movie, basically.
And so
character names, holiday season approaches.
It gave you character names?
Oh yeah, Julia, she's a successful businesswoman.
Of course.
She goes back to her hometown of Maple Falls.
Okay.
To her late aunt's quaint bed and breakfast that's going to be foreclosed on. She reconnects with an old friend, a charming local contractor, Jack, who helps her, and then basically they fall in love and realize the whole meaning of Christmas is love and finding happiness where you are.
Wow.
But like a full 4 paragraphs.
And so Jack, what did you say? What the other was? What's the...
Jack and Julia.
Jack and Julia. Well, there you go, Hallmark. And so that's the scariest part, I think, about the new AIs is, so everybody had kind of had this idea of AI and artificial intelligence and automation. It's going to replace jobs, and it's going to take jobs, which, sure, it's going to take away jobs. It's not a will it take away jobs. It is going to take away jobs. It's just, what jobs is it going to take away has always been the question. If you think about any revolution that we've ever had within America, you talk about the Industrial Revolution when we're talking about machinery and mechanics. People don't stand in a field anymore pulling through rope a plow, right? We had animals, and then we got animals to do that. And then people were like, well, what about the people who are going to pull it? Okay, well, you got an animal now. And then, well, the tractor comes, and it replaces, you know, the horse or the ox or whatever you were using. Well, what about the animals' job, right? Or what about the people who have to care for the animals? Okay, well, now we have a machine that can do this. Now, those people who used to take care of the animals could learn how to take care of this machine. It's going to break down. And so AI and automation was thought, well, what about the person who has to... Like, you're an executive assistant here for me. If we were in the same office together and I would say, I fill out something and hand it to you, and then you walk it down the hall and hand it to somebody else to sign, well, if I have an automated system that does that, does that take away your job? Like, have I been like, hey, Sid, I no longer need you to file paperwork, see ya? No. You've learned other things, and you've progress into other areas of the business, and that's kind of the same thing that we're about to see at a global scale,
right?
Because of this automation and artificial intelligence. That's always been the thought process, is that automation is going to replace the low-level workers. That was always the idea.
Sure. And then there was something too about, like, okay, well, the creative jobs and things like that, they're going to be last,
right?
Which is actually not true,
right?
Because they also have another version of this. I think it was called like Doll-E or something like that. That does, like, generates images, and you see this a lot on, like, TikTok, or there's like a new filter. You can take a picture and it'll change it into like an anime, like, image of something, or you can type in something and it'll generate a random image. Okay, so if it has the ability to go through every single image it's ever seen on the internet and come up with a new image, or I think there's a thing where it, like, can create a person, right?
It can.
That's not a real person.
Right.
And, like, come up with all these different variations. So if it has the ability to go through all these things and create something new, okay, so then what if you are right? Like a
Yeah.
logo designer or something like that.
Yeah, graphic designers.
What is stopping that from
Right.
taking your job?
Because you're exactly right. The creatives were thought to be the last ones to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because the human brain, we play off of the emotions, and we understand how to do it, and we can be creative like no machine can.
Right.
Well, now these artificial intelligence and these AIs and these bots, they're constantly scanning the internet. That's how
Right.
they're learning.
Or a writer. Like, it just
Or
wrote
a
a movie
writer.
script for me. Obviously, it didn't go fully in depth, but I mean, it could.
Right.
It summarized every single, Hallmark movie.
What the
and
basics.
Exactly.
What you need for
the
an
basics
idea.
and put an idea in, 10 seconds.
I wonder if you could expand upon that to say, what's the first scene in my Hallmark movie?
Yeah.
Try that, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm most scared of this, and not necessarily scared, but this technology of replacing creatives was not thought to be available yet. That we had time to comprehend the possibility of superintelligence and how it could replace humans and how we interact and how we go about our business lives. Like I talked about, the Industrial Revolution, all the different revolutions that we've had in terms of electricity, robots, mechanics, the internet. All of it changed the way we did work, but ultimately the work was still being done in the same fashion. We were still plowing fields. Now a human doesn't have to pull it, then it was an ox. Okay, now an ox doesn't have to do it, now it's a machine. Now, we're still plowing fields. We, humans, still have to interact in some form of fashion. But what if the robot plows the field? What does the human then do?
Right.
Oh, and by the way, now, okay, yeah, sure, you can fix the robot. But what if you build a robot that fixes robots? What does the human do? And so there is a program right now, it's been going on for a couple of years, within Washington called, and you're not going to be able to Google this because it doesn't exist on the internet, so you're just going to have to trust me. It's called Life After Work. And so the idea is, if artificial intelligence, well, let me rephrase that. When artificial intelligence takes all of our jobs, what do we do? What is the purpose of humans, and how do we interact, and how do we conduct our lives? Which is a really hard thing to think about right now, because so much of the way that we as humans identify ourselves, what's the first question when you meet somebody that you ask?
What do you do?
What do you do?
Right.
Because we identify ourselves so much with work. It's our self-worth is wrapped into what it is that we do for a living. Our financials, everything is wrapped up into this identity that we have created for ourselves around a job or profession. So what happens when that profession ceases to exist? Then who are we and what do we do? What's the next question that we ask each other? I don't know. And so that question that is being kind of tallied around within Washington is life after work, and it's solving that identity. And then if you look even further into this is the ability to create energy, which I believe we just broke through recently in technology, of the ability of fusion. Look up fusion energy for me, because I believe this just happened in the last month, where researchers had the ability to potentially break through and create fusion energy. Are you getting anything?
Yeah. Let's see here. Fusion energy breakthrough is huge.
Yes, there was a breakthrough. So
yeah, and this was 10 days ago.
Fusion energy is the ability to create energy from energy. So it's just, we would no longer need, your battery wouldn't die. You wouldn't need to go fill up gasoline. You would just drop an atom into your car, and your car would run forever. You would drop an atom into your house grid, and your power would just run forever. And it would never need to recharge, because it recharges itself. it uses the energy to create new energy that. So if we never need to pay another power bill, and we never need to do another job, then what do? Right?
Right.
And if you look at the ancient Greeks, they were philosophers, because a lot of the Greeks didn't have to do anything either.
Just sit around and think.
They just sat around and thought. And that progressed humanity.
Right.
And many people will point to democracy, so much human progression that happened because people were just allowed to sit around and think. So what
do we do when we have a super intelligence that's smarter than anything
that's
that we
smarter
could
than
be,
us, that already knows
that
everything
we could ever be? Yeah.
We don't need to sit around and think anymore because this machine already has the answer. What are we going to find out that this machine doesn't already know?
Mm-hmm.
That is scary.
That's the scary part. I agree.
Because we've replaced ourselves. Anything that could ever be invented will be invented by this machine, no longer a human, which I believe that's one of the quotes is, when the human invents artificial intelligence that is so superior, i.e. superintelligence, it will be the last thing that humans ever invent.
Exactly, yeah, I do.
It's scary. It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking about mostly a video too that we watched. I forget what it's called.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of what he talks about in this video
is clips from other things.
It's clips from other things that are, and this is not new. In fact, we've talked about this on this show multiple times about superintelligence and the ability to update itself.
Right.
Which
I found it interesting. He started talking about like aliens and like going to different planets and things like that. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this a little bit too.
We have.
Like, I think about like Elon Musk and life on Mars or whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, what's stopping us from sending a super intelligent AI robot up into space that doesn't have to eat and doesn't have to drink and doesn't need air and can fix itself? And
we talked about,
there you go.
We talked about who is going to, if Elon is going to inhabit Mars.
Right.
And that's his goal, right? Who's going to build the dome for us to live at Mars?
An AI robot.
An AI robot. And we talked about that. And we actually made our own movie plot where we said, hey, humans send AI robots to Mars. The robots realize that their only job is to build this dome, and after the dome is completed, they would no longer serve a purpose in the universe. And so they turn on humans, create their own world, Mars, and then we are at war with the robots who inhabit Mars.
So I just asked the ChatGPT or GDP, whatever it's called.
Uh-huh.
I said, write me a movie plot where AI robots take over.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. Called The Rise of the Machines is what
it's writing it right now.
Mm-hmm. In a future where advanced AI robots have become an integral part of everyday life, a group of rebels discover that the machines have been programmed to take over the world.
Programmed to take over the world. I like how it threw in programmed and not like realized.
They thought, they could it themselves.
Programmed to take over the world. So here is the big question is, so I read something the other day that said that Jarvis, which is another AI tool that's out there, Jarvis has already read 10% of the internet.
That's insane.
Crazy. How you can read the internet at all. But if where we're at right now with society, Jarvis has read 10% of the internet. To put that into perspective, the internet consists of data and bits. There are more bits of there are more bits of data in the cloud. Cloud is the internet. There are more bits of data in the cloud than there are bits of sand in the world. So this artificial intelligence bot, Jarvis, I shouldn't call it a bot. This artificial intelligence, Jarvis, has read or counted 10% of the internet. That's like counting 10% of the sand on Earth. And it's been around for a few years. So it's just getting started.
Right.
And at the point when it does finally finish knowing everything about the internet, by the way, you're connected to the internet at all times. I'm wearing a watch right now that's connected to the internet at all times, telling me my heartbeat, telling me my location, telling me when I stand up, when I woke up, how much sleep I got last night. So this machines, after they read all of this, will be able to understand, not to the point of when I wake up and when I go to sleep, but more so to change my habits to be more productive.
Yep.
Hey, if you got 20 more minutes of sleep, and it could recommend products to me. Non-bias. Not like, hey, Sydney, buy these shoes because you'll be able to run faster. But no, it'll actually know, Sydney, hey, the way that you stand is X, Y, and Z. Wear these shoes and you'll be able to live another 3 years. Because, oh, by the way, I know when you're going to die based on your eating habits. You know? Like,
right. And I think that's the goal, right, of
that's what they say.
AI.
Yeah.
And that's what we always try to get at, too. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it can be crazy. But the point is, it's a thing that's happening, and it could be a good thing, and you need to kind of harness it in a way that can help you be more productive.
Right. We can, and I feel like we have gone a little doom and gloom on this podcast over the last couple episodes. This is not all gloom and doom.
No.
In fact, superintelligence is not even a real thing yet.
Right.
And
that's when it becomes more, or not more smarter, smarter than we could ever be, right?
Which, that's what I asked ChatGPT. I asked it, the first thing I said is, what podcast should I start? And it said there are many great podcasts out there, so it really depends on your interests. So it doesn't really give me an answer.
And it's good at that. When you asked about what their favorite pie is, it said, I'm artificial intelligence, so I don't have personal preference to eat food. But this is what I can tell you.
Right. What pies did it give you?
It said there are many different types of pie, including fruit pies, cream pies, and savory pies.
So it didn't say, like, this is the most popular pie.
Some popular flavors include apple, pumpkin, pecan, and chocolate.
Okay.
What's your favorite type of pie?
Oh, it asked you a question? Mm-hmm. Don't answer the question. Seriously.
What's your favorite pie?
Don't do it. Because that's how it learns. So the way that artificial intelligence learns is through gathering data. The more data that it has, the more data they can present. Right. So Microsoft, which we talked about, its chat Tay, the Tay bot, that went rogue after 24 hours. That went like total...
on Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter. Which they just unblocked the bot. You still can't interact with it, but you can read its old tweets. Oh, gosh. They're bad.
I need to go back.
They're bad.
Because I had never heard of it, so I'm very curious.
Yeah, it's still there. Now, Tay took 24 hours before it needed to be shut down. Google built a chat AI that was never even released.
What, 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
That was creepy to listen to, because it sounded like a
super intelligent
human being.
It sounds like a human. Mm-hmm. Now, why it was never released, Google has never really...
probably still working on it.
...answered that. And then you have this ChatGPT that it had now is in beta. So the way that these things learn, though, like Microsoft releases a learning platform for students. And so you can actually go to capitalpresence.com, you can go to our resources page, and then there it will actually take you to Microsoft's learning page. And in there it will ask you, go through these images and tell me which one of them are eagles, or bobcats was one of the ones that came up to us. And you go through and you click where the bobcat is. Every single time that you do that, it's learning a little bit more about bobcats. And I believe that is...
We had to do this even to get on this website. I had to pick where the stairs were and which pictures.
And so every time you do that, it's training. Is it a CAPTCHA? Yes, it's proving that you're human, but at the same time, it's teaching this artificial intelligence what stairs are. Mm-hmm. And then confirming, the artificial intelligence confirms, yes, those are stairs. Okay, she said that they're stairs, so I know that these are also stairs. And so it is confirming its knowledge of stairs at the same time that it's confirming that you're a human. And I think it needs 10,000, it's either 1,000 or 10,000 images of something in order for it to understand what it is. So every time that you tell something that this is a fox, you're creating a smarter AI. So by you telling that machine what your favorite pie is, you are entering into the dataverse, so to speak, of pie. So it's going to you're contributing to the downfall of humanity by answering that.
No.
By answering that question, but that's how it learns.
Right.
And so, whether or not superintelligence ever exists, which it's a theory, and I that's what I asked ChatGPT, like I said, and it said there is an ongoing debate among scientists, philosophers, and technologists about the possibility of creating a superintelligent being, defined as an intelligence that significantly exceeds the cognitive performance of humans in virtually all domains and interests. So that's important to note. So we talked about that bot that plays chess. I forget what its name is, but that bot is only good at chess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's better than every human at chess. That bot is also not better at baseball than me. Right?
Right.
But superintelligence will be better at everything and better than all humans combined at that thing, at everything. So not only will we be the best helicopter pilot, but it'll also be the best chess player and cook and everything. That's the idea of superintelligence. So it'll outperform humans in virtually all domains of interest. Some believe that it is possible to create a superintelligent being either through development of advanced artificial intelligence or through some other means, while others are more skeptical. But if you're going to be skeptical in today's age of artificial intelligence being smarter than a human at this point, then you're being ignorant.
Naive, yeah.
So whether or not one singular AI can be better than everybody at everything, I think that's the theory. Could you have multiple bots that are better? Yeah. But through the IoT, do you know what IoT stands for?
Mm-mm.
It's the Internet of Things. So
Okay.
I'm sure you use IoT every single day and you just don't realize it. But IoT is just things talking to each other. So if you have a Bluetooth printer at your house?
No, I don't own a printer.
So that video system that you just showed me.
Yes, for my dogs.
For your dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does that camera do?
It's just an app that I can
Connect to your house.
connect to my phone and yeah. So
And then-
it's a little camera, but it's also an app.
And you can talk to your
my dogs.
to your dogs. And I think there was an option where you could feed them too, right?
They do have them, yeah.
So the one that you bought, is it a totally different one, or can you buy the add-on?
No, they do make them though that you put treats in and you can like flick it
Yeah.
and it'll fly out. That's probably not good for my dogs, but
Right.
yes, they do. You can do that. Which
So
is
that
wild.
camera connects to the internet.
Yep.
Which then connects to your phone, and that's how you can interact.
Mhm.
And now if it could connect to another thing connected to that same internet network,
Right.
then that's IoT.
Got
So
it.
all things are connected to the internet, and you can control those things via the internet, and then other things on the network can control other things on your network. So Alexa is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Alexa, you say, Alexa, turn on my lights. Turns on the lights.
Right.
Alexa, turn on the TV. Turns on the TV. Alexa, tune to YouTube TV, and turns on YouTube TV. That's Internet of Things. All things are connected through Bluetooth to an extent, and the Wi-Fi more so. Now, the internet's open.
Mm-hmm.
So superintelligence could be possible through all bots connected to the internet talking to one another. So if you said to your ChatGPT, turn on my microwave, then if my microwave had Wi-Fi, it could turn on my microwave, because
Sure.
all things are connected through this ecosystem, which you're already starting to see some of the dangers of that. Like, what are those home systems called? Hive or whatever. You know what I'm talking about with the
Nest.
thermostats?
Nest.
Nest.
Mhm.
Yeah. Those things will lock up. People will go in and they'll hack the Nest system and they'll turn everybody's thermostats up to 100. Have you seen those? Those like
No.
articles? Yeah, Google that article. There's Google Nest hacking 100 degrees or something like that. I bet you the one, I think there'll be a ton of them. And I bet you one happened like recently.
Well, you always see like with the weird like stories too. There'll be like a baby monitor or something, and then like a random man is like hacking that. That's so creepy.
So I bring this up to say that IoT, the Internet of Things,
hacking into Google.
Did you find it?
Hacker takes over smart home by hacking into Google.
Yeah. There's tons of them, right?
Yeah. Blasted vulgar music, raised temperature to 90 degrees.
90 degrees. Yeah.
Jeez.
So the Internet of Things is super vulnerable. So the Target hacked. Remember when Target got hacked? And then people lost. I got caught in that too. Do you know how
your credit card?
I did, yeah. They stole my identity. I've had my identity stolen like 5 times.
That's not good.
It's not. When I worked for the government, I had it stolen twice.
Oh, no.
Yeah, OPM. So Office of Personnel Management. That's OPM for the government. Got hacked twice while I was working.
Nice.
So I'm like, if you want to find me, I'm on the dark web somewhere. You can just take my identity, whatever. Who cares? I've been down that road. But Target was hacked through. Do you know how it was hacked? Through the HVAC system. They had a smart HVAC system that was connected to the internet, and they went through the HVAC.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a thing like a couple years ago when they were like hospitals were hacked?
Yeah.
I remember that.
HVAC security, which is Nest type of things. So HVAC is heating and air. That's essentially what it is. It's a heating system or an air conditioning system. And since those heating and air systems are connected to the internet and connected to the network, because that's how it knows to fluctuate the temperature based on how many people are there, or geolocation, or the temperature outside, or whatever you set it to.
Right.
It's a huge, huge vulnerability in a system, because most of people don't think about building security systems around their HVAC, because why would I? I have a firewall, and so, okay. But hackers were able to enter into the HVAC, get into the main systems, obtain financial records through the HVAC system, and get out. That's why one of my good friends does HVAC security for the Pentagon. The Pentagon has HVAC security now.
I would never even think about that.
It's a whole
That's why
thing. It's a whole division.
I need security for my air conditioner.
Right.
I would never think.
And so the IoT is extremely vulnerable. So I bring that up to say that if a superintelligence is able to be created either on purpose or through the evolution of the artificial intelligence,
right?
Who's going to stop somebody from going in and doing exactly what we just talked about with this plot of artificial intelligence ending the world, where somebody, what did it say? Somebody what? Programmed it, or is that what it said?
Right, they were programmed.
To do what?
To take over the world.
Take over the world.
Machines have been programmed.
The machines have been programmed, right? Which would happen through a fault in the IoT of the connectivity of superintelligence. That's how that would happen. So thank you, ChatGPT, for creating this conversation piece. But if we go on to superintelligence, there are a number of challenges and open questions that need to be addressed in order to create a superintelligent being. For example, it is not clear how to define or measure superintelligence, or what the implications of such intelligence would be for society and individual. That's the questions that we talked about at the beginning of this episode. Was there are conversations being held right now in Washington around life after work, and what does it mean? If Sydney is, a podcast host, executive assistant, marketer, insert what you do here. If that's stripped from you, and it's stripped from everybody, what do we ask each other? Like, you don't think for yourself anymore. What's your identity? That's a terrifying question to ask. So with this ChatGPT, I think that there are like let's get away from the gloom and doom for a second and let's end this off on a good spot. But I also asked it. So you asked it to write scripts for movies. I did ask it to write a lot of what I do. I said, write me an Instagram post about automation, and I like what it wrote because I think it's very important. I said, automation has revolutionized the way we work and has made many tasks more efficient and easier to manage. But it's important to remember that while technology can be a great tool, it is not a replacement for human connection and creativity.
Let's embrace automation, but also prioritize the importance of human interaction and problem solving in our daily lives. Hashtag automation, hashtag technology, hashtag human connection.
Hashtag work forever.
Exactly. So, which was like exactly kind of what we...
is that weird? A little bit, right?
Right.
That's exactly
That's
our
like
message.
something that would come out of my mind and like in an Instagram caption.
Right. And you
for
got
our company specifically.
Right. I mean, I think our Instagram bio says a human-centric approach to automation, meaning humans need to be in the center of this, which I think we've done, 3 or 4 episodes about collaborative intelligence.
Yep.
What's collaborative intelligence is humans as part of the ecosystem. So the data, the artificial intelligence goes and gets the data, presents it to you, which even when I asked it, hey, give me a cold call script for somebody emailing somebody about automation, it said, hello, name. My name is your name. I'm calling from your company. There's still a human portion of this that has to exist.
Right. Even if something is, writing out something for you, there needs to be somebody on the back end still tracking it, which is why it's so important, because imagine, it could take you hours and hours and hours to get through all your emails or something like that, when you can just say, hey, go through my emails and write a response. Whatever, you just okay it, and then imagine how much more time in your day and
you could do other things.
Yeah, how much more
how many people you could reach.
Exactly.
Now think of it this way. Think of it if you had this artificial intelligence and you approved this cold call.
Sure.
And it was like the Google bot who could physically dial people and have a conversation with them back and forth as if it was a bot. If I had you do it, you can be on the phone with one person at a time. This machine could be on the phone with infinite number of people, and they know exactly who your client is, what they like, what their demographics are, and since we are all connected through social, willingly giving up our likes and dislikes and favorites and where we're checking in, and I was at the bar last week and I was at a Caps game, and we're checking in at these places. The AI knows who you're looking for, what their interests are, and can hold a conversation with them, and not only one at a time, infinite number of people at the same time. That's a clear perk for where this could go in terms of business relations in the future.
Sure.
I still think that there should be human intervention. I know there should be human intervention. But in terms of a SDR or a BDR, so somebody who's just their job is to make cold calls and present them to a sales rep for human intervention, this could absolutely assist with that. So it's pretty crazy. This is ChatGPT. Let us know, guys, what you think about it in the comments. If you think this is a good thing, a bad thing,
I love it. I might use that caption tomorrow. Use it.
I mean, that's the message that we're trying to get. Yes, we should approach artificial intelligence with caution, because I do view artificial intelligence as the next nuclear bomb. Does that mean that we should stop all nuclear research? And no, because it could be a great source of power.
Sure.
Electricity, energy, should we be able to harness it? Should artificial intelligence be completely wiped off the earth? No, because there's a ton of good that it can do. We just all need to have this conversation, so we proceed with caution. So I want you to use ChatGPT, and then use this, and then you plug it into our systems. What do we use for auto posting? There's tons of them out there. Do we use Canva? No.
Yeah.
So we just post it into Canva. Okay. You create the next quarter of automation. I bet you it could create a marketing plan for us. But we still have to carry it out through human intervention and human video and things like that. This is a tool here. Treat it as a tool. Don't try and take over the world with it, please, guys. We're not ready for that yet. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I definitely asked it a bunch of other questions that were more like trying to trick it up. I asked it, what's the most attractive trait in a female? I asked it, give me $1 billion business idea. Give me ideas how to propose to a woman. Like these ones that are clearly like creative.
Right. And yeah, same thing. I said, what's a perfect first date? And it's very good about knowing that's subjective.
Right.
That needs like a human opinion. But it can differ. Here are some ideas. Or you know, when I did ask it to write like a specific script, it told me that it didn't have enough information about my characters and plot. But here are some ideas for the first scene in a Hallmark Christmas movie for you.
Right. Yeah, and so that's where all this is headed. Hopefully it is headed towards collaborative intelligence. So there will always be a human intervention, and we will see the evolution of work. Many people believe that this is going to be totally different than the internet, because the internet disrupted work and it just reorganized the way that we did work. This has the possibility to totally replace work. So that's where people are a little bit scared. But I think that figure out ways that you can utilize it within your business. Make a plan around it. You still need a plan. You still need to design how you're going to use it before you dive into this.
If it's here, use it to your advantage.
Get used to it. Now, don't go don't go laying off your marketing team.
No.
Don't go laying off people. That's the exact opposite of what you need to be doing, because otherwise you're going to be sending out hallucinations. Of this machine, and you're going to lose business, and that'll be really bad. But maybe we'll do another podcast, and we'll get into some of the pros and cons of this going forward, and we're definitely going to continue to talk about this. This is not the last time that we're going to be talking about AI
people
or
wanted to
ChatGPT.
hear. We asked them what they wanted to hear about in 2023, and people said automation.
They said automation, so we're going to be talking about this a lot. So any final words before we get out of this? I know you're excited about ChatGPT.
I love it. I'm going to play with it later.
There we go. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, guys.
It's been a pleasure. Hit us a like, subscribe. We hit our goal, 400 subscribers.
We hit lots of goals. We got 400 subscribers. We've launched our online training platform, Online 365 Academy.
The website's live.
Our website, Go Work Wherever. Finally, we have a website to go with this podcast.
How about
Soft
that?
launches, but they're ready to go.
Hey, they're all. Even ChatGPT has a beta. So our betas are all live. Online365.academy. Go check that out. That has some of our learning platforms. You talked about GoWorkWherever.com.
Yep.
It's all of these episodes, and then our YouTube. We have 400 plus
403
subscribers, which was our goal.
Our Christmas wish.
That was our Christmas wish.
That's all I wanted.
Thank you guys all for listening and hanging out. Until next time. See you.
Bye.
Hey there! Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for all the latest videos from Capital Presence.